Hi, in the following couple of videos I will show you some useful things you can do with the Modern Buildings Asset Pack for Unreal Engine. In part 1, using the Merge Actors tool, I'll show you how to convert blueprints into static meshes and combine the assets to create new buildings. And in part 2, I will show you how to transform these buildings into modules and turn them into dynamic blueprints again. So let's begin with the basics. Here we have all the available buildings. Let me drag one into the viewport. One of the main features of these buildings is that you can change the height at any moment in the details panel. But if for any reason you just want to have a static mesh, you can do it too with the Merge Actors tool. It is very easy. Simply select the building, go to the Tools menu, and select Merge Actors. In the dialog, you can leave all the settings as default and click on Merge Actors. Then select the folder where you want to save the new asset and give it a name. I will call this one Static Mesh Merge 1. We can close this window now. And here we have the newly created static mesh. I can simply drag it into the viewport as any other static mesh. Let me create another building with a different height. Select the building, Tools menu, Merge Actors, and I'll call this Static Mesh Merge 2. And let's drag the new building into the viewport too. Now we have two different static meshes, but both static meshes are using the same UV layout. In the original blueprint, you can change the UV layout to get different designs, but you lose that functionality in the static meshes. If I want the static mesh to use a different UV layout, I have to edit the UV channels manually. So, open one of the buildings in the mesh editor and go to the UV tab. Remember that the UV channel 0 is for the light maps, so don't touch this. UV channel 1 is the default channel that is being used right now. What we can do is to delete this channel so that Unreal uses the next channel available. So select channel 1 and click on Remove Channel. Let me move this window so you can see the changes and click Confirm. Now you can see that the design of the building has changed. You can keep deleting channels, but be careful because once deleted, you cannot get them back. If we go back to the viewport, now we have two static meshes with different UV layouts. However, if you want to preserve the option of selecting different UV layouts for this building, you can do that too. Simply go to the Blueprints folder. Here we have the main blueprint, but we also have another blueprint that says for Merged Actors. If I open first the main blueprint, here in the component list you can see the individual modules that are being used to create the building. If I now open the blueprint for Merged Actors, you can see there is only one static mesh component. So we need to replace this mesh with one of the static meshes that we just created. First, I'm going to right-click and choose Create Child Blueprint to create a child duplicate of the blueprint. Give it a name and move this blueprint to our test folder. Open the child blueprint and in the content browser I select one of the static meshes we created. Go back to the child blueprint, select the Merge Actor component and click this arrow to assign the building. And now the mesh has been changed. But it looks weird, right? Something is wrong with the textures. If you look here in the details, you can see that there are 3 materials, but there should be only 2. If I do Ctrl+C to go back, you can see that the default building only has 2 materials. Let me load again the new building. The reason for this is that when using the Merge Actor tool, Unreal is creating an additional material, which is the material that the modules have assigned by default. If this sounds confusing, don't worry about it. It is very easy to fix. Just double-click the thumbnail here to open the mesh editor, and in the material list, click the trash icon to delete that material, and save. Now if we go back to the blueprint, you can see that the problem has been resolved. Finally, just click Compile and Save. Now if I drag the new blueprint into the scene and go to the Details panel, you can see that we recovered the ability to change the UV layouts and the designs of the building, which is what we wanted. The building appears with a different material because the parent blueprint had a different material applied by default, but you can replace it as you like. Okay, so these were just the basic things you need to know to work with the Merge Actor tool. What's great about this tool is that we can use it to combine two or more buildings and create more complex and interesting constructions. Let me show you an example. Let me first delete all these assets and leave only the original blueprint. First, I'm going to change the height again. I'm going to duplicate it and then flip it in the x-axis and put it a little closer. Make sure you are using the snapping options. And then I'm going to add a different building and put it here in the center. That looks cool. And remember to apply the same material so they look more unified. Then, as always, select the buildings, Tools menu, Merge Actors, name it. I'll name it Static Mesh Merge Big. Go to the Blueprints folder, create a child blueprint, move it to the folder, open the blueprint, select the static mesh created, go back to the blueprint, select the component, assign the mesh, open the mesh editor, delete the extra material, save, back to the blueprint, compile and save. And it's done. You have a brand new static mesh building with the possibility to change its UV layout dynamically. Using these methods, you can create as many new buildings as you want. Here are some examples of new buildings I came up with. But also, you are not limited to making just individual buildings. You can use the Merge Actors tool to create groups of multiple buildings or even entire city blocks, like this one here. And then create copies and play with them as you like. And actually, you can create pretty large super blocks of buildings like this one and create a large city very quickly, which I think is really cool. Okay, before finishing, one last tip about the light maps. Open the static mesh of the new building. If I open the UV tab and click on the channel 0, the channel reserved for light maps, you can see it is a mess and the UVs are all overlapped. This is normal when you combine meshes together, but if you are going to use light maps in your game, you need to fix this. For this, go to the Build settings, activate the Generate Lightmap UVs, and make sure Source and Destination Lightmap Index is set to Channel 0. And then click Apply Changes. Unreal will generate the lightmap automatically. And that's it. Alright, that's all for this video. In the next video, I will show you how to convert this static mesh back into modular buildings so you can change the height once again.